Welcome to the Deep Six podcast, where we make a generational impact on you and yours. What we do here is explore a 6-point model into your health, your life, and your journey while you're here. So let's dive deep and help you thrive, not just survive. Hello, welcome again to the Deep Six podcast. So I have an iconic music, country, rap, turntable, you name it, writer, guest with me who's awesome and you know, I'm excited to have on. We're actually talking to him down from Nashville. He's about ready to hit the road, and this is like really, really cool because he's willing to be on here with me and my, you know, crazy medical stuff and talk about life journey stuff. But Matt Schaefer / Uncle Kracker. So thanks, man. Thanks, Matt, for joining me.
Oh my goodness. Thanks for having me. Thanks for that intro too. I like the iconic part.
You like the iconic, huh?
Yeah.
I
don't hear that very often.
You don't hear that at home?
No. Are you kidding me? I hear take the trash out, Matt.
Oh,
I hear
geez.
that.
I'll talk
And
to
what are
Jim
you
about that.
And what are you waving that cashew around at me for? I hear all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad though somebody's bringing you down to earth. That's good.
Yeah.
We all need that, you know? I'm sure that's
Absolutely.
happening. That's why the road's good, Matt. That's why getting on the road's good.
Yeah, I need to get my self-esteem up out there a little bit.
Yeah. So, you know, listen, just for the audience, you know, Matt Schaefer / Uncle Kracker, you know, truly has been around for, gosh, I mean, I don't even know when you'll have to tell us when you started into music and that with Kid Rock and back from your Detroit days and, you know, what was it, Macomb? Where originally from?
Yeah, well, yeah, Macomb County, Mount Clemens, Michigan, born and born and raised until they changed it to Harrison Township, and then you know they did that and
That cleaned it up.
Yeah. It did wonders for the township. Right.
Right. I love that. Yeah.
They pulled an East
changed
Detroit.
everything.
They pulled in East Detroit. I think I can't remember if it was before or after East Detroit changed their name. Remember when Detroit separated and they became East Detroit and
Yeah.
Mount Clemens did that too with us.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, but you know, Matt is obviously you started with Kid Rock. You started way back, and you can maybe share some of that with us. And you know, but then you got huge on your own with Follow Me, and you know that's played probably, you know, I'm probably embarrassed to say this, but every summer in my backyard because my wife and kids love it, especially my girls.
Chicks dig it.
Chicks dig it. That's worked out well for you, I'm sure. Right? I'm sure it has.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No,
You know?
I've been really lucky with that one. That was
I think
if
getting
it
off
wasn't
the
for that. Yeah.
getting off the turntables helped you.
It did. It did. I mean, getting on them helped me too. You know, as far as when I was you'll have to excuse me because when I'm talking, I can't hear myself through my headphones. So so it makes me feel like I'm not even talking. These things are so like
I hear you.
yeah. I'm wondering if I can do one of these. Would that be horrific if I did that? Would it change
Not at all.
the landscape
You're all
or
good.
anything at all?
No.
Oh my gosh, I feel so much better.
There you go. Pressure relief. Your doctor wants you to feel good, so you know I want you to have some head relief. You know?
That was like Xanax for my soul.
Perfect.
Right now.
There you
Just
go.
poured that again. So
that's all it took. All these years, that's all it took, is get some shit off your head. Damn. Okay. All right. Okay.
That's words of wisdom. You got to get some shit off your head.
Yeah, it is. That's deep, man. Yeah. I won't ask for credit for that in the next song. Don't worry.
So, like I was saying though, I guess getting off the turntables was as good as getting on the turntables for me. When I started out with Kid Rock early on, I was DJing for him, and I was probably 16 when I started actually DJing for him. I had signed my first record deal when I was 15, and then it turned out this label had owed Bob a bunch of money, Kid Rock. So Kid Rock got me out of this record deal, and then from there I just started DJing for him because I was cost effective for him. You know, I was very well. We were friends, and cost
Well, yeah,
effective, meaning he didn't pay me anything except for
that's cost effective. I like
very
that.
effective.
Wow, he might be in the wrong industry, man. He might be way ahead even further if he was in the financial industry, with that kind of. I like that. That's awesome. But wow, at 15, I didn't realize 15, man. Shit, that's
Yeah.
wow. So that's I mean, have a record deal, even if it's nothing really, is
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, that's amazing. That's amazing.
It was a cool time,
Yeah.
it was a weird time, with a lot of attorneys involved trying to
Oh,
make sure everything was to be able to sign a contract at 15 and make it any, I guess, somewhat legal or something. The
yeah.
parents had to do I don't know how. I don't
Oh,
remember exactly how the steps, but I remember all that taking place, uh and then there was a lot of studio, a lot of recording, but like I said, getting off that label was great. Thanks to Kid Rock, I got off there seamlessly, and then I started DJing for him, and from there, he and I we were always in the studio, whether it be writing songs, listening to songs, just hanging out. It was uh being on the road with him early on DJing, and then spinning my solo record thing off of the entire Kid Rock thing was like
yeah,
that's, I guess that's what I meant about it was as good getting on them as
for
getting off
sure.
them was as good as getting on them, because one hand washed the other, I guess, when it
For
came to
sure.
that.
Yeah,
uh
absolutely. And you're quoted as saying this, if it feels good, I'm doing it. Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Now, my
My
Frenchie
goodness.
at home, my dog has that same attitude, but we won't get into that. But I mean, he's doing it. If it feels good. So
Right.
no, no, no. That's Hey, listen, that's why it works, right? Because it's feeling
Absolutely.
good. It's good vibes. It's good energy, right? That's what
Oh
it's all
man,
about.
I think anything that feels good is I mean, well, I guess you could go anywhere with that, but
Yeah, I know.
I
We
think
can.
my bad.
Well, I was just saying we
Uh,
can leave it. We can leave it.
uh, if it doesn't feel good, it's usually not that great,
There's
I
something
guess,
wrong
right?
with it. No, for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, listen, I love in this show, with the Deep Six, and this Deep Six is about, for you and my audience. But what's funny is even being a patient and even me helping you in health and life and stuff. One of the crazy things is I just learned this the other day, but it happens often. Is the Deep Six is about my 6-point model of how we approach health and preventative stuff and longevity and life stuff and that, and in the coaching and the medical deep dive stuff that we do. And what's funny, a lot of people don't even understand that. It's funny. So, but I always start this show by a quote, and so I want you to tell me what this kind of means to you, or does it resonate, or I guess the good and bad of it. The quote is from Marilyn Monroe, and it is: "Fame is like caviar. It's good to have caviar, but not when you have it every day." You think fame is like that?
Uh, well, that's a different kind of a quote.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, this is if you like caviar.
right, right. No, I get it. I get it. That kind of goes along with, like, I don't know. Well, what does that mean to me? Uh,
Well, I mean, to me, it's like, I can't imagine, being famous, and, even though you're very grounded, and I've always got a side of you that's just super warm and happy and, embracing in that, but it's got to be heavy, man. You got to, there's a lot to carry with that. And sometimes, it's got to wear on you a bit.
it, uh, it's been, it's, I mean, I guess there's times when it's taken its toll. It could definitely be. Uh, I don't want to say uh, well, I guess stressful would be probably a good word. Second guessing a lot of second guessing the dumbest things. Like going out, just running to the grocery store, or
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
Second guessing those things is probably the stressful part.
Right.
Things you should never have to second guess, like, oh man, hope nobody sees this, or hope nobody sees me doing that, or it's not
Yeah.
that I'm doing anything nobody should see.
No, but
uh
I mean, we go to the store and you might just want to roll the store and roll out and not have,
Right.
asking for pictures and autographs and that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah, going out to dinner with your family and your kids, and people are coming up and they're bugging the entire, the, they're, some, by the way, some people are very respectful when it comes to those types of things. Some people are not. But I guess, again, that adds to like, stress, if any. And by the way, you'll never hear me complain about anything I've ever done in that regard. Uh, because I'm happy, and I'm extremely thankful, and I wouldn't trade any of it for anything.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. No,
maybe
that's
there's a couple of things I might swap it for, but not
yeah.
many, not
Yeah.
many.
Not,
But you'll never hear me complain. But if we're on the topic, yeah, the celebrity thing, the fame thing, those things can be stressful. I see how some people get really really annoyed and freaked out,
yeah.
but when I say, like, going places, the dumbest things, like going to the grocery store, hope nobody sees me, that, like, I mean, like, it's the stupid shit, like, you know you can't fart, you can't pick your nose, you can't pick your ass, you can't, you
Yeah.
got a
Yeah.
wedgie, you can't get it out.
You can't,
Even the
you
dumb
gotta
things,
leave it
like, I
be.
hope
You
nobody.
gotta leave that be.
Yeah, that's right, man. Like, everywhere, it's just I've never checked my nose so
Right.
many times before I walked out of a bathroom or into a into
Right.
any public sitting so many
Right.
times. I mean, it's
Right. Right.
crazy.
That is
But
funny.
that's
That's
what I
funny.
mean about those, just the little things, it's just, and it started early on, when my first record came out, uh, Follow Me exploded. Well, the first single tanked. And then the second
Did it
single
really?
was Follow Me. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
it was Yeah, Yeah, Yeah. And then it
Hmm.
tanked. And then Follow Me exploded. And then all of a sudden, I'm on tour, and it's like, you go into a truck stop to take a shit, you come out and everybody's clapping. It was really, really, it's just
Yeah. You're like, wow, that's all it took.
yeah, that's it, man.
Yeah.
Man, I just wanted to grab a bag of these Funyuns, probably grab me one of these hot dogs off this, this.
You're right. 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 Yeah. Yeah. Look at it.
Yeah,
Look at
so
it. That's how life got reduced to.
yeah, sneaking around from bathroom to bathroom
Right.
for
Right.
God only knows what
Oh
reasons.
God. Oh yeah. 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 Many, I'm sure. Yeah. That's funny. But I mean, when you look back, was that though? I mean, and I know you're blessed and you appreciate it, and you wouldn't, like you just said, you wouldn't trade anything. But was some of those, like when your album and Back with Kid, Bob did it? Those were just crazy times too. I think back like late '90s, right?
Yeah, late '90s. Double That a Cause came out August of '98, and it was, and I think we were on Warp Tour 2 months before that even came out. We didn't even have an album out. We were on that Warp Tour in
Okay.
'98, the summer of '98. It was like rock and roll boot camp,
Yeah.
playing for no dough, and you had to show up the next in every city. Just we were
Oh,
traveling around in an RV. An RV was like a petri dish on wheels,
yeah.
and
Jeez.
it was just yeah, just passing one strep throat to the next. It was like by the time somebody was done with it, it
Right.
circled back. It
Oh
was,
yeah. Oh
yeah,
yeah. Uh,
strep throat was always hiding in that RV waiting.
Oh jeez. Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm sure you don't miss that. And
No,
sharing all of it. That's the other thing. It's such an enclosed space. It's like those tour buses, even the nice ones, man. I mean, they're not that big.
no, no, not at all. I mean, no, no, not when you're in a band on the road with people,
R-
and living with them day to day. That's never big enough.
Yeah.
There's no
Exactly.
there's
Yeah.
no places to hide. There's none of that.
No
Like,
checking out. Even with your buddies that you love and you're having a good time and growing something that's awesome, I'm sure there's a little bit of like, man, dude, can I get a break? Can I get away from you?
absolutely. It's exactly how it is,
I know. I hear it. You're not the only one or I'm saying it for you, but I've heard this many times. Like, what I mean? It's the one thing I think I even shared this with you about, I talk about this book that I'm going to work on, my next book about, musicians and entertainers and life after the show, you know what I mean? Cause it's different, right? It's different than the big, when you've boomed and you've hit the, the high and you've
Oh
made,
yeah.
the money and the tours and all the women and the whatever it is, the success and fame and fun and blah, blah, blah. It's very different. And one thing that they all say is, I don't miss the bus
No, I
or sharing the
understand
bus.
what uh I get it, and I know I know we've never really touched down on it. Like I can't wait to read that book, by the way. I wanna
Yeah.
but I get it, the life after the show. I know a lot of cats have a lot of cats have a lot of trouble, with after the show. Uh
Oh, yeah.
uh I've I've been really, really lucky where I said earlier how my first single tanked, my second single didn't tank, it exploded. My third single tanked, and then it was time for a new record, and then that single did great. The second one exploded. I've been really lucky that like I haven't had like bam, 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 just like monster hit, monster hit, monster hit. I've been lucky, and it's been like a roller coaster for me. So like, just when my, just
Yeah.
when my my britches are too big, I put out a single that
you get,
tanks, and it
you get hit
snu-
low. You get a
yeah,
low
it
blow.
snuffs me back. Yeah, when you're playing blackjack and you
Yeah.
win a hand or so, and then you
Yeah.
jack your bet up, and they just
Yep.
go,
And they take it all. Mm-hmm.
yeah, done.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Oh yeah.
so I've been lucky. So
Isn't that life
I've
though?
never
Isn't that a little bit of life? Wouldn't you say?
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. But I know a lot of guys who've had a lot of success, and when it's over, uh so are they, for the
Yeah.
most part. There's a lot of I don't know if that's I don't know if people just put their demons on hold, or if they I don't know. I've
Yeah.
been really lucky in that regard, though.
Yeah.
I never took any of this too seriously. I still don't. I
I can
love
tell.
writing songs. I
I can
don't
tell
know if it
when you
shows.
come in and you're like, you get an IV or whatever, or you're picking up some vitamin or something, and we whatever we meet a bit, and you're like telling me about what's going on and a big tour, and we'll get into this and what's coming next for you and all that, and it's so nonchalant, like it's like yeah, I think I got this and I got this, and I'm and it's so nonchalant, and I'm like, man, no pressure, you don't feel any pressure at all, do you? Nothing. No, I'm good. I'm all good.
I'm good. Everything is everything. It's always been that way for me. I guess I just learned early on that like I knew what I wanted to do, and this was it. I wanted to make records for a living, and there's some things like touring and things like that that I guess I didn't realize the magnitude of it, but I've dealt with it, and just like everything else, you get into a groove, and I know a lot of people that travel for a living and they're not musicians,
Yeah.
and they don't like that either. I
Yeah.
know guys that don't travel for a living and they don't like what they're doing.
Right.
I just been really lucky, man. I really been really lucky, and I understand, but I've lost some good friends to this business too.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
yeah, some demons and stuff like you said, and maybe I like to say that also not potentially having the right support, the right people around them, the right community around them, and not to their fault or anything, but just the way things work out. It's
yeah.
so important. I know some people around you. You got great people around you, and friends and family, and that's so
Thank you.
critical. And yeah,
It is. It is. I think just in general. I mean, not just musicians, but life, people in general need good balance.
yeah,
I think it's a balance. It's a combination of. Uh, I think it's a combination of a few things. It's a. I think there has to be a balance of like. We could get. I don't want to get all deep and weird
no,
because
no,
you'll
no,
just be like,
but
"No,
no,
what
but
are you
it is.
talking about?"
No, no, but that's actually, I think to keep consistent, I always say keep consistent in life and in life's journey, you need to keep balance. Fun, work, money, bills, family, friends, you name it, whatever it is, your head, you got to keep it.
Yeah,
You got it's all
absolutely.
it's all about that. And when you don't, but by the way, like there's like even in the fame and success and other entertainers that I take care of, and and I've seen and gone through with, man, it's even athletes. I mean, I'll just tell you, it's no different with an athlete. It's like just it's when things get out of balance, man, starts to go south. Bad choices, bad things happen, and and you need good people around you to keep you steady.
Absolutely, absolutely. You need good people around you, which is, you know, that's a lot of people are afraid to hand that over to people too. You know, like trust and things like that. You know, there has to be like a balance of like, you know, independence, uh, codependence, interdependence. Like these things all have to jive, and
Yeah.
you know, I think without balance, well, you'll fall, right? If
Right.
without it, but
Well, that's, I mean, that simply, right? Absolutely.
yeah,
Hey, I
yeah.
want to ask you this because I read this. Somebody bought me, I think it was my wife actually, that bought me Rick Rubin's book. I know he recently put out a book, I think last year. And you know, it's a lot about the artist and the writing and being a musician and the craft and all that. And one of the things, and I think I even heard him a little bit in an interview or a podcast about saying about how it's so difficult, but people don't really put much into it to actually have creativity and write in that. You know, have you had that trouble, or is it pretty easy for you, or what do you do to kind of keep fresh with that?
Well, it's he's right. I've gone through periods where I haven't had you know, you need the inspiration. You know, things have you have to it's either there or it isn't. You know, when you are writing, when you do sit down to write, it's either there for you or it's not. If it's not there and you try to force it, it's just gonna even if it sounds good to somebody else, it's gonna not sound good to you. And ultimately, it needs to sound good to you for you to be able to let go of it.
Yeah.
Uh, but uh, again, going back to like the you know the celebrity, the famous thing like that, like you know when you aren't going to grocery stores and bopping into the gas station and doing things like that that you should do that you should normally do, well, you're not really getting out of the house that much. I guess if you're not living, you're not there's nothing to you know. I don't know where somebody else would draw inspiration from if they
Yeah.
weren't you know out and about and you know being a person, you know,
Yeah.
just being a person. I know a lot of friends that don't leave; they're very in the bubble,
Yeah.
and you can tell their songwriting suffers from it. You know, just
That's
by
interesting. Yeah. That's really
you
interesting.
know, I think a lot of older cats kind of kind of struggle with it more so because you know like a lot of the older cats you know when you look at like an older artist you know as they get older you can think back to their younger records and they were probably some of the best records you've ever heard. Well, then
Right.
you listen to some of the records as they get older and you're like, you know, that's not
Yeah.
good because you know, as they get older, they're still in that bubble, and they're even, you know, you know, as years go by, they forget even more what it was like to be out and about, and you know, your ear's not to the street. You're just not doing
Yeah.
anything at all that has anything to do with, you know, people that around you that are living, you know, all around you
Yeah.
that you're just not living. I think, right?
Right. No, no, yeah, for
Uh,
sure. For sure.
but song
It's
struggle. It's
interesting. I remember, you know, not too long before he passed, you know, sadly, Tom Petty, I was with him and
mm,
he was talking about it. It was really, really interesting because he was saying some things to me on his bus about how the, the tour and the road and stuff. And he called it a young man's, I think he even said sport. It's like a young man's sport, but he's like, yeah, I'd love to be home writing, you know, any day, you know, and he goes, but that ain't so easy either anymore, you know, and the poor guy like had a lot going on. I mean, he was in, a lot of people don't know this, but he was in a lot of pain. He had a fractured and degenerative hip and, you know, he's out on the road in this big tour and it was, that's tough, man. That's tough stuff. And it's at a, like you said, at later years and stuff. But man, you know, it is, you need inspiration. And I think, you know, he was at that stage getting uninspired.
Right, right. Yeah, and I could see how, like, you know, traveling on that private plane with a bad hip would be horrific. I could see how that would.
Okay,
I'm
okay,
just,
good point. That's a solid point. That is a solid point. But
I'm just joking.
you
I'm
know,
just
I
joking.
know.
I know
Yeah.
exactly. I think he's right. I think he's a young. By the way, nobody's. I don't. There's not very. I don't know if there's not very many better writers than Tom Petty was.
No,
Uh, so
exactly.
to see somebody that makes it sound so effortless to hear that he at any point would be not, where it was difficult for him to write anymore.
Yeah.
Sucks to hear. Almost unbelievable for me to hear because I don't think that there's
Yeah. Well,
nothing he's ever done that didn't sound
amazing.
beautiful and and effortless,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. And
Uh,
just natural too. It flowed. Exactly.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that younger man's game thing too, the younger man's sport thing, like you can, as I get older, I'm like, oh, I'm getting too old for this shit. You do it comes up and stuff, but then you're like, wow, what else would I be doing? And then,
right.
but
Well, and it's natural for you. It called you. Let's be real. I mean, guys don't just get on turntables and run into some, and make a friendship with obviously somebody highly, highly talented and blessed too, like Bob, obviously. But then it just happens. You're meant to do this. Let's be real.
yeah, I don't really know what else I would be doing if I wasn't doing this.
Yeah. You're pretty
I'm,
funny, actually, though. The texts and stuff you send me sometimes are pretty funny. You could probably do stand up.
oh no,
I mean,
no.
you might get canceled, but you could do some stand up for a minute.
I think stand up would be fun, but I can't big difference between standing on stage and singing songs
Yeah,
and standing on stage and speaking or talking to a crowd. Uh I'm definitely not a big talker, you know that. And
yeah,
and even in between songs I have a hard time talking,
yeah.
to I guess that would be public speaking and
Right.
not good at it,
So
unless you're
you're not like Bono on stage where you're giving like speeches.
no, no, I wish I wish I could. I wish I could talk. If do public speaking. Who knows? I might not be doing what I'm doing either if I could.
Yeah,
Uh, but I think being a comedian would be fun. I there's definitely some great comedians out right now.
yeah,
I
yeah.
love them.
I just saw a guy. Saw a guy that just I don't know a couple weeks ago at the Fox, and he was a writer on for Ted Lasso. You know that show, Ted Lasso?
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So he was funny. He was definitely funny, and it was but that's a gig that's not easy, not easy. In fact, I had a guest on, Mike Young. He's a guy in New York right now, and he's a local here that's a comedian, and it's not easy. Like it's not easy for them, even if it's kind of natural,
Why do I feel like I know that name, Mike Young?
Yeah. Well, he wears a hat and he sells hats that say "Who the f is Mike Young?" So I don't know if you know him.
You say he's local? He's
Yeah,
from?
yeah,
Is he
yeah,
from
yeah. He's
back where
from
we're from?
Southfield. He's some from Southfield. Yeah, yeah. He's
Okay.
actually he's he did a lot with Saget. He did stand up with Saget and Maniscalco and Sebastian and Rogan. He got his start with Rogan, Joe Rogan,
Okay.
like doing
Very
some stuff
cool.
warm up with him and on his show and all that stuff.
I just heard a story a buddy of mine told where he said he had met Bob Saget.
Yeah.
And he said he met Bob Saget and
He was a dirty comedian in the beginning. You know that
I didn't
before
know
Full
that.
House.
I now know that, but
Yeah.
all these years I didn't until after Full House, and then I saw some of the comedy stuff, and I'm like, wow, what is that? Like, woo,
Yeah.
like But
Yeah.
a buddy of mine was telling me he met Bob Saget a few years back, and Saget was telling him about when he first moved to L.A. to be a comedian. He was there for about 2 weeks, and he got and this is years ago, and he got a spot on one of these comedy club stages. And he was up there. They gave him about 4 minutes or something like that. And he was up there. He got down. And he went to sit down in the audience where the other comedians were sitting, like a little area or something. Well, he sat down, and Rodney Dangerfield was like, "You did good, kid." And he gives him
Oh,
like a business card. Gives him a business card with his address to his apartment or his apartment building in L.A.
no
And it
way.
said like Tuesday, 9 p.m. So he takes his business card and he goes and he leaves. He calls his mom. He says, "Mom, you're never going to believe this. 2 weeks I've been here. I've already hit the comedy club, did some time, and Ronnie Dangerfield wants me to come by his apartment." So
Wow.
Tuesday, 9 o'clock
Yeah.
rolls around. He makes it past the apartment building, the bellman and whatever. He gets up and the Ronnie Dangerfield's door, and the door opens and there's like a little chain, and Ronnie Dangerfield picks his head out and he goes, "Yeah." And Bob Saget's like, "I'm Bob Saget. You told me to come by." And he goes, "You thought I was serious?" And the doors the door
Seriously.
shuts
Oh,
the door shuts and then opens back up again, and he had taken the chain off. He opens the door. Well, Saget looks in, and Ronnie Dangerfield's standing there in a robe, and he looks down the hall, and there's a couch. Ron Jeremy's sitting there on a couch in a robe, and there's two girls, one on each side of him. Ronnie Dangerfield looks at Saget and he goes, "Look, kid, I got a guy in here that can suck his own. Now is not a good time."
wonderful.
I don't know. I don't know how true that is.
Wonderful.
But,
Oh yeah, yeah.
if it's,
No,
you
hey,
can't make that
listen.
up.
Mike told, like, again, I didn't even know truthfully that Saget was doing stand up, and Mike Young, who really they were tight. He was on the tour with him before, right when he passed, and he was his warm up guy, and I think 10 years or something they toured together, and
Wow.
were buddies. And he told me, all this, and I'm like, I knew Saget, afterwards, but I didn't know all that before. But I'm going to say he went into that apartment. I'm just going to say that. I don't know.
I mean, who wouldn't? Who wouldn't?
Geez. Although I might second think about that with Ron Jeremy. I don't know. I might think, first of all, I wouldn't. No one's going to compete, so I might just leave, tap out, whatever.
It's Ron Jeremy was he was an all right guy. After the Kid Rock thing exploded, we used to end up in L.A. and Vegas a lot, and Ron Jeremy used to show up a lot. And we kind of became text buddies back then, and here and there.
He's got something on. He's got something right now. I just saw it, like HBO or some documentary or whatever, and it was actually really interesting, very interesting.
I don't doubt it, man. I remember him telling me like he got his start like he was a teacher, and then but I guess he was good looking dude at one point, and he was doing like some like male modeling, and he ended up in like a Playgirl shoot, and I don't know if he was behind Marilyn Chambers or somebody, where he was laying behind her or somehow, but uh his junk was showing. And they were like, "How we got to get this out of the way?" And whoever he was laying behind, I don't know who it was. She was like, "Oh, here you go," and tucked it in her. And that was how he like, yeah, I know.
And that was his start.
That was his start.
Wow.
Right?
Well, we all have a calling. So, look.
Oh man. Some
hey,
of us get called better than others, I guess, right?
Yeah. So, hey, tell me, hey, catch me up to with, you right now, you're living in Nashville a bit, the Michigan winters are kicking your butt. I know you took a little hiatus in that. And, tell me first of all, how do you like it down in Nashville? Because great city.
I love Nashville. Yeah. Great town. Great. A lot of action here. A lot of action and much. Yeah, a lot of action. Different than Detroit for sure. I just I was sick of the winters up there. I was just tired of. It took me a long time to put my thumb on it, but it was like, man, I tour, from pretty much March till November, and then I get home, end of November, and I'm in the house all December, January, February.
Dark and cold.
Some of my dark and cold. Even when you do go outside, you gotta wear a snowmobile suit. So, and it's gray. There's never any sun out. So I was just like, why do I want to spend the few months I have off indoors? It just didn't make. I don't know. It took me a long time to figure that part out. By the way.
Yeah. Well,
not that I could have done anything about it early on. I was, married with kids, and then divorced with kids, and then you couldn't. You couldn't.
It's a life, man. But it's really true that a lot of people suffer from. And I'm not saying you did this, but here you'd like to enjoy, right? You get off tour, you're like, hey, let's relax, celebrate, do some fun things or whatever. And it is dark and gloomy and cold. But seasonal affective disorder is a true, really medical thing. I'll tell you, just me with age, man. And I love outdoor sports. I'm really active and I'm busy all the time. But man, once the holidays for me are over and, we stop having fun with the kids and with friends and family or whatever. So January to April, man, it's, as you get older, it starts getting a little bit, man, seriously, can't we get a little sun? Can't we get, this year
right, man.
We've had some odd weather this year, man.
Right. Like I'd like to go take a walk. Oh, it's fucking -2. Like
Yeah.
just that type of stuff. Like just I don't
Yeah.
know. And you
Yeah.
say after the holidays, so it was funny. I was thinking about this last week, and I'm probably way off on this, but as my
I,
doctor, you'll tell me if I'm right, right? Uh,
well, I try
a
to,
ma-
whether you listen or not. Yeah,
I know
we're
I'm still
working on that.
smoking like it's 1987 here. I'm smoking cigarettes like a dummy.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Jen is on the
so
every, Jen is texting me all the time, like, get on
I
his
know.
ass. And I'm trying. I'm trying. I'm doing my part. Yeah.
So she hates it.
Yeah.
Uh,
But
you
something about
mentioned
the
the
holidays, you
holidays, and
said.
yeah, once they're over, things are like let's 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 pep this thing up a little bit. Imagine like 150 years ago. Just imagine. I don't know when they started making up holidays, but imagine like no Wi-Fi, no nothing. I mean,
Yeah.
I think they had religion back then, too. I mean, I don't know when that started either,
Yeah.
but at least they had.
It was
I'm
before that, yeah, yeah. But I know what you're trying to say. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, did they just start throwing this shit up just to break up the monotony of like? Imagine
Potentially.
trying to find things to do. Like, what?
Yeah.
Probably things were really really quiet unless you were like Jesse James or somebody like
Well,
that. That like
right.
unless you know what I
Going out
mean?
robbing
Like,
banks. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's winter. I'm a little bored. I'm going to go out some, we're going to go heist some banks.
yeah,
Why not? Right.
yeah. There was stuff to do above them bars there,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Right? There was places to go, things to do.
Right.
My point being like. Did they just start throwing holidays in there to break stuff up for people? Like just to give
Well,
people some to look forward to? Something to, you know,
right.
I
Well,
could be wrong.
I haven't put a lot of thought into this, but think about this from an evolutionary standpoint, and I'm big into like, hey, how we evolve as humans and creatures. So think about you're hustling, you're building stuff, you're hunting, gathering, you're doing all this stuff. And then the weather takes a dump, the weather goes cold and whatever, and we're worn out. I actually think that physiologically you're supposed to like rest. You're supposed to lay around. But this is like they didn't have Wi-Fi, they didn't have cell phones, they didn't have all the help to help them do these things, efficiently and super effectively. So, they might have needed a few months to time out. Maybe,
Yeah.
what I mean?
Right.
But then I think as we evolved, they went, well, yeah, this is a little boring. Let's come up with something, let's talk about some bunny. Some, Easter bunny. Let's talk
Yeah.
about use some eggs, you know.
Just to break it up, man, it
Yeah.
gives people something to look forward to. Isn't that
Yeah.
that seems healthy,
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
able to look forward to stuff.
Distractions. Love them. Love them.
I,
So,
we
hey,
need
tell me,
distractions.
absolutely. So tell me what's up with, I know you yourself are on tour doing some stuff right now. And then you got some big tours going on this summer with Bob with Kid Rock and Kenny Chesney, right? And tell
Yep.
us what's going on this summer.
Well, it's getting close here. So, I go out with Chesney until September, April, April 20 till September, end of August, beginning of September. I got a handful of those Rock the Country. There's a festival Kid Rock and Jason Aldean started called Rock the Country.
Nice.
Uh, so I'm doing, yeah, it'll be fun. I'll do a handful of those shows. I had signed up for the Kenny Chesney tour a while back. So when this thing came up, there was a lot of dates that were conflicting with the Chesney tour. So I could only take a handful of them, I guess. Ones that didn't conflict, and then, but that'll be fun. I know
Yeah.
that's Aldean, Kid Rock, Travis Tritt, Hank Jr., Big and Rich, Gretchen Wilson, me. Um, uh,
Great. Yeah. Great lineup.
yeah. There's a few more on there. I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah. No,
But
super.
it'll be fun. There's some girl on there from Michigan.
Really
Sadie or Sadie. Gosh, I feel bad. I can't remember her name, but
interesting.
I seen her name on on the same list.
Right. Super.
I didn't know if you were if you Sadie Bass. I think that's her name.
Okay.
So she's from Michigan, I guess. But
Well,
who
super.
else? Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
good deal.
should be
Do you
fun.
do you do you think I mean, because I mean, it's no secret, you know, the road now is where people make money. The merch is where people make money. Musicians make money. It's not all about the money. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying is, do you,
It's not about the money. It's about the money.
yeah, yeah, okay, yeah. But I know what I mean is, you know,
I'm just kidding.
listen. I know. Listen, hey, we all have to pay bills, right? But it's that's where the money's at. What I mean is, right? I mean, that's what you have to do. You have to tour,
Yeah.
right?
I think the record industry did like
Did a
what
number
8 billion did like 8 billion last year, and the touring industry did 60 billion last year. The difference,
yeah,
touring's like the one thing that hasn't gone away. You
yeah.
know, is having to get out and play your songs is like, people like live music.
Oh, I love it. I mean,
I
I
do
mean, there's so
too.
many. Oh man, I'll go to any genre. I live close to Meadowbrook, you know, theater, and I already got some
Hmm.
tickets. That a couple like Roger Daltrey's coming, and any genre. I mean, I'll just, you know, go hang out a bit. I love live music, and I think people do too. Plus, you know, they love getting out. You know, getting out and enjoying the outdoors. A lot of these places are venues outdoors and stuff. So, and I think a lot of people wait for like spring and summer's coming, and hey, what shows can we go to?
Absolutely.
You know.
Yep, that's all part of it. You know, when I moved down here to Nashville, it was it was funny because you'll go and I'll meet a buddy here, a buddy there, but uh I've been just stepping out and seeing a lot. There's all kinds of live music here at all hours of the
Oh,
day, everywhere you
absolutely.
go.
Yeah.
It's
And
glorious. So
solid
like,
stuff, man. Solid stuff. I saw a place at Kids. I was
man,
there. My brother-in-law used to play for the Predators, Nashville Predators, and I was in town, and we just went into Kid Rock's. You know, I mean, I don't even
hmm
couldn't. And this band's playing, and I'm like, man, they were kind of like a country rock band, and
uh-huh.
they were just, and it was like 6 p.m., 7 p.m. It wasn't like 11 p.m. and they were like the front, you know, or I mean the headline or whatever was going on that night. They were amazing,
Mhm. Oh
unbelievable.
yeah. Incredible. I'll go out like, I don't know. The older I get, the more I like indulging in the daytime. So like there's spots all over the place. I'll go on the other side of town, and they'll be like, there's these bands, there's these cats that play like on this at this one spot here in Nashville called the Palace, Fridays from like 2 to 6, and it'll be like, the guitar player from, Alan Jackson, and the
Nice.
steel player from Ernest Tubbs, and it'll be like this kick ass monster band of like professional musicians that are playing like just straight. It's just 4 hours of fun, just
Yeah.
none of them can hit a bad note. Just everything
Right.
is like awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fun to go watch, and
Absolutely.
it's. Uh, I guess we were talking about live music, and it's fun just to pop into anywhere and see somebody playing something.
Well, that's the town to do it any day, anytime.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
no, yeah,
Right.
you're right.
I mean, any day, anytime. So, hey, let me ask you, you know, something if you don't mind sharing, and you don't have to get into too many details, but you know, our podcast is about some health journey things, and you know, even if it's just typical vitamins or gut health or you know your sleep or anything that you know you've struggled with or because of the road or because of age or because of things that you know you don't mind sharing with us that and things that you've done to help and you know public service announcement not alcohol or
It
or
helps everything. Helps
yeah.
everything.
Oh yeah, yeah. The cause and solution to all man's problems. That's Homer Simpson, by the way. That's a quote from Homer
What was
Simpson.
it? Alcohol making white
Alcohol.
people dance since
Oh
1922 or whatever. What
yeah.
was
Right.
Prohibition era?
Right.
The
Right. Right.
shirt.
Right. Yeah. 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 Right. Yeah. Well, that's the great. Yeah. It's perfect. Those are beautiful. but is
Uh,
but is yeah. Anything at least come to mind?
um, when it comes to, I
Just you know,
totally got
just
sidetracked.
no. It's cool. Just you know about just health stuff. I mean, even if it's like, hey man, I'm tired, or anything, and things that either we've done or approaches you've taken, or things for sleep, or for like, diet or stress, or you name it, just, and things that as you've aged, cause we all age, and you gotta grow and evolve, obviously. And if you want to stay in the game, right? Any game, you're in the music game, so
No, absolutely.
anything that you've had to deal with.
Just over the years since I've started seeing you, I mean, you've pretty much knocked me back down to reality, I guess, a little bit. Not that I was
Well, I
like
love
off
taking
the
the ego down.
handle.
I love taking the ego down. But I get it at home. I got to bring it somewhere else. So I take it to my patients. Knock that ego. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying that, since I started seeing you, things have been, um, I used to, I mean, I got to tell you again. I mean, you've corrected a lot of these things with me and for me, and uh, but yeah, I mean, sleep was a big thing. Sleep deprivation, sleep, um, obviously weight,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
feeling like complete fuck all the time. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? These things
Yeah.
are like,
Yeah.
uh,
It's like pulling bowling balls around. Well, and I
yeah,
think I look at you guys, and I always say this to musicians and stuff. I look at you guys, I don't care what age, no different than an athlete. You're a performer. And I get it. You're not, just the other day I had Lomas Brown on, and his, Super Bowl champion, and from the Lions, and his
yeah,
experience and stuff. And Lomas was like, I said this about music. Everything's, you're entertaining, you're performing. It's a stage, okay, at the stage of life, you know what I mean? Like, and if you want to keep doing it, you want to keep being in the game and all that, you got to take different approaches. It's fun when you're 20s and you can just, drink,
oh
pop
yeah,
something, smoke something, or whatever, or you just, you can sleep through anything. Right. And then all of a sudden it's like,
absolutely.
man, what happened? I'm 40 or I'm 50, and it's like pulling around a bowling ball.
Yeah, yeah, that and I don't know what it is. That sleep thing really fucked me up a lot. Not being able to sleep, and I don't know what it was about. Getting older. Things people get. I don't know. Priorities shift and priorities change, and my wheels turn a little bit differently than they turned. 20 years prior, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, but just to be able to make a lot more sense out of it, and be more conscious of things that I am doing or are gonna do, and um, you've been a huge help for me
Yeah. Yeah.
in a lot of those areas.
Well, my
I
work's
mean,
my work's still cut. Well, thank you, but my work's still cut out for me.
oh, I'll be the first one to tell you that. I'll be the first one,
Well, and
and
Jenna
when I get
tells
off
me.
this, and
Jenna
when this
tells me. She reminds
podcast
me.
is over, oh, I'm sure she does. I'm sure she, yeah, yeah.
No, that's so.
Uh,
Hey, before I wrap this up, though, listen, I do something here, and we can't do it because you're not with me physically. You're in Nashville, but this is my book of, like, I take just whatever medical notes, quotes I love, music stuff. I believe it or not, I got a lot of music. I'm a music fan, so I got a lot of music stuff in here. In fact, Mike Young, the comedian, picked something out about Nickelback I wrote in here that was from a song, and we had a good laugh about it. And so I can't do that with you. But what I'm going to do with you, just because it's not not natural, you're not just going to a page and like, hey, what does this mean? But you can ask the doctor anything. Ask me anything medical, anything for not just you, by the way. This could be a family member, a friend, a musician, something that you guys in your field, not necessarily you, but struggle with, and I'll tell you what my insight is.
uh, and not to throw you a curveball, but just while people are listening, could you explain to them why water doesn't go up our buttholes when we're swimming?
Well, I'm glad you brought this up, because this is a serious health topic. And here at the Deep Six, we dive into all of that in a bottle, and this will be a first and a last time that we've ever had this question. Yeah, yeah. So, by the way, my
I'm
answer to
using
you
this
is going to
one
be,
for.
it could, by the way, my answer is going to be, depends on how high the diving board is. I mean, a true cannonball from a significant diving board, brother.
Come on.
I'm just going to pray for you.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll say it this way. Here's my best answer. Okay. My best answer is this, and it is medical, by the way. Hopefully, and usually there's plenty of muscle down there to keep things tight. Okay. So it's
All right.
so we won't go further. Okay. But it's a one-way valve. We'll just put it that way. All right. Wow. So I didn't think I was going to get that question. I get some good ones. That was, whoa, that did that. I don't get sweaty, but that one got me a little, yeah.
I didn't think I was going to get that. Can I use that for my scenario for the insight for the one sure. I got stumped on?
Okay, absolutely. Awesome. No, I love it. Yeah. No more pop quizzes, man. I know. You'll have to get off air and have a smoke and a Budweiser and you'll be like, and Jen will get mad and she'll text me and she'll be like, you wouldn't believe what Doc, he put me on the spot, man. He really hit me hard, man. Not the taxes. Doc's questions. Yeah. So,
goodness.
Anyway, man, but listen, it's been a pleasure to have you, man. You are, I know you don't think you are, and you're very humble, but you're an icon. I mean, people love you, man. You got great energy, great vibes. You do great stuff.
Thank you, Doc.
Your shows are awesome. I mean, I saw you last summer. Your shows are awesome. You're well known and welcome in the music community, by the way. Great writer, great everything, so, and it's been a pleasure to get to know you and care for you and your family and, anything I can ever do to help you and that, that. And my purpose here is to make a generational impact. And I know I've even seen your children and stuff and, they're not babies anymore, but your children. And, I mean, you got a baby, kind of, little baby, kind of.
Yeah. He's 3 and some change. He's 3 and some change.
Okay. So, yeah. So, a baby, I guess, a toddler. Yeah. So that's why you're not sleeping right now.
There's he's all toddler all the time. He's
a handful.
Yeah. Yep. He's awesome. They're all handfuls, right?
So he is Matt's son.
Yeah. Poor thing. He's
yeah. It's funny. I do have to share this with you before we go. I got to share this with you because it's the funniest thing. Because a couple of days I had to take my godson, my nephew, and his father, my brother-in-law, played NHL for the Rangers, New York Rangers hockey. And so this kid who his father's played, I think 11, 12, some years in the NHL, but the team he remembers. So this is what your son's going to remember. He's going to remember stuff in the next probably 1, 2, 3 years. That's when he's going to start remembering and what you are. So he's going to know none of your history. Maybe stories, but it's not going to mean anything to him. You know what I mean? So
right.
Whatever is going on, and it's called theta waves actually in your brain. It'll be imprinted in his brain. So in the next year or two, whatever you are, you better be good, brother.
That sounds serious. That sounds serious.
So whatever you are on stage, whatever you do, I'm not putting pressure on you, but I just want you to know that that's how it's going to go.
He's the last of 5 here. He's the last of 5. I got a good, I'm not doing anything different than I was 25 years ago when I had my first one. So I guess I'm not too concerned.
You'll do okay. I think you'll do.
I think so. And, before you do sign off, I just wanted to thank you too. I mean, I meant every word of it, that I have never felt better. I wasn't feeling good when I came to you, but I feel 150,000 times better than I have. And I thank you.
Awesome. Because if I can do anything for you, and help you perform, because I know this, I live purpose-driven life. And you being able to have the energy and the whatever it is to do your thing, man, and write or whatever it is and perform, that then feeds love and it just multiplies. So that's why I'm here. That's why I do what I do. So, but thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. Even if it's
you're welcome.
Even if it's all
yeah, and I'll send you texts later.
Perfect. Okay, I love it. I'm waiting for those texts. By the way, the ones I don't respond to is because my wife saw them. All right. All right. So this anyway, thanks a lot, Matt. I appreciate you, Uncle Kracker. You're the man. Everybody go see him this summer. Buy his merch. He is the real deal, and he's a great guy. But this is Dr. Lewerenz from the Deep Six podcast, where we make a generational impact on you and yours. And enjoy yourself. Have fun. And listen to some music.